that are one. The red fire blooms. Fate belies truth. The red fire blooms. We that fail.
What's up, y'all? So we're back from the hack, and this time with a banger of a build. And I already know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, oh great, another Shockburst build. Bro probably thinks he cooked. But I have, and let me show you how. So it's definitely discouraged because a bunch of really good guides came out all at the same time, but I noticed that's a pretty big difference. So out of all the ones that can blow up a boss, mine can do it at a fraction of the cost. I total up all the items in my build, and it came out to about 8 divines. So, what's the secret? How did I get this strong? And let me tell you guys, I had to collect the Infinity Stones. I shamelessly put together all of the most broken mechanics that I possibly could. We got Hoa, we got Heralds, we got Crit Chance, we got Lightning Rod, we got Triggers, and with their powers combined, I'm a nearly unstoppable force. The only thing that stands between me and dominating the universe is Jonathan Rogers of Grinding Gear Games. Because I can see this build getting nerfed like 5 different ways, so you better hop on it quick before he takes it away from us. So let's get to it. First, let's take a look at the clear. So we're using Galvanic Shards. I want to use Explosive Shot, but Galvanic Shards is just the best vector to deliver Heralds, because I don't have 3 dragons and I don't have any AoE scaling. So Galvanic hits, forks, and ricochets, and then that hits and shocks as many targets as possible. That fuels Herald of Thunder activations, and then Herald of Thunder freezes for Ice Bite and Herald of Ice. Herald of Ice then explodes, hitting for Herald of Thunder, and applying shock for Herald of Thunder. And this whole time, all your shocks from Galvanic and Herald of Ice are contributing to cost on Shock Voltaic Mark, which adds another explosion for more attack hits and more shocks and more Herald of Thunder. And combining all of these interactions is how we achieve this crazy screen clear. And then the single target, Lightning Rod. So shout out to Rutu for having me test out this technology. If you guys want a non-crit version, he has a great build that he's setting up right now. And so if you're interested, you should check him out. So, shock burst rounds. If you guys have played with shock burst rounds, you know that setting up shock is really annoying. But this is what I like about this technology. So, lightning rods, they let you set up that shock before the boss even activates, so you don't have to worry about it while the boss is swinging on you. And then, shock burst round synergizes extremely well with Orb of Storms to blow up all of those lightning rods in a matter of seconds. And these rods give you extreme front-loaded burst damage. So I will warn you, there is a gem swap in this build. I put Eye of Winter into my cost on shock links before I have to fight a boss. And then, to pull off this combo, I first load shock burst rounds, then I shoot 20 rods into the ground, then drop my curse, and then as soon as the boss is active, I drop Orb of Storms and unload shock burst rounds until they're dead. The lightning rods make shocking seamless for shock burst, and they do millions of damage along with shock burst doing a huge amount of damage itself. These mechanics, combined with curse, exposure, and huge shock effect, mean nothing is living more than a couple seconds, even on such a low gear budget. You notice that I dump all my mana when triggering skills, but Shock Burst is on life tap, so I can always reload. And I only reload maybe once or twice per T4 Pinnacle boss, so it's really not a very big life cost. I just have life tap to guarantee that I can reload. And then let's take a look at the gear. So some of this gear is very ratty, you guys, but that's how I like it. There is no way in hell I'm paying more than 100x for a random piece of garbage Life and Resist rare. So here are all the items with prices that I paid for them. hit pause if you guys want to take a look at it. I'm not saying that all of these items are always available at these prices, but this is what I paid, and I even have a couple of receipts to show the proof. So it's all right here. You got the prices on the left side, and as you can see, none of it is very interesting. The only important notes are that the build uses 180 spirit total, so I've got that on my chest and amulet, and I have 460 int. So if you want the same damage as me, you're going to need that much int, and then you need crit and elemental damage on the weapon. And with all the other slots, it's just straightforward stuff: life, int, and attributes. Also worth noting is the specific setup does require an unset ring to use all the skills I have listed. And so these are all my jewels. I just set up a pretty complicated weighted search, but I basically just searched for like 14 or 15% crit chance with 3 other useful mods. And then I have 1 sapphire there for mana on kill. I'm just noticing now that the sapphire, it says magnitude of damaging ailments you inflict with critical hits. That's not useful because that's for poison and ignite, which I don't do. And so this is the full price breakdown. I was not kidding when I said it was very cheap. This build just gets its damage from very strong skill interactions, which might not be living for a whole lot longer. So if you want to try it out, do it soon. And this is the tree. If it's not very clear from the picture, you can find it all in the pod that I have linked below the video. But basically what I did is I just went around the tree and clicked on all the crit. And then for the bow tree, I took a bunch of points out of evasion and movement speed and attack speed, and I put that all into more damage because you only spend a tiny bit of time on the bow tree, and that's only for placing lightning rods. And that's about it. We beat the game, you guys. Under 15 divines, we one-shotted everything. But if you guys had more currency and you guys wanted to improve upon the build, you can really do anything with it. You could be any of the ascendancies. There are so many different upgrades you could go for. There's the Morior Invictus, or you could go for the Queen of the Forest setup that I had before. I know its Xeris is really good. You get a Spirit Corruption on it. You could use cost on crit instead of cost on shock. I think it procs a lot more. One thing that I was doing before I had this much damage was using Stormfire support. So I really hate reapplying shock, so I just extend my first shock indefinitely with Stormfire. So it means you just have to ignite, so you can guaranteed ignite with Burning Inscription or Flame Wall, or you can just get enough fire damage so that your Shockburst ignites, and then that extends the shock forever, so you only have to shock one time. One thing you could do is invest more into the lightning rod damage. So you can pick up the quiver nodes on the tree and just one-shot the boss with lightning rods, and you wouldn't even need all the shock burst investment that I have going. And then there's the obvious ingenuity against the darkness, better gear in every single slot. You could really do anything. So I'm excited to see what you guys come up with. Doubling my damage is really only a couple divines away. So that's it. So as always, I read all the comments and I'm happy to answer any of the questions that you guys might have. The pub is complete and linked down below, so make sure you guys get pub 2. It is the tool for Path of Exile. I will be putting a mobalytics guide together. I have been very slack about that, you guys, and I apologize. But I'll make a text right up over the weekend, and make sure you guys are staying tuned for more crossbow content. Thanks for watching, you guys. Adios.